Today we're breaking down one of the most successful activewear brands on Shopify, Alo Yoga. They're doing everything right when it comes to their website optimizations, and I'm going to show you exactly how they're converting visitors into customers. Now, whether you're running an activewear store or any clothing brand, you'll definitely want to take notes on this because we're going to break this down and give you a few apps and a few things that you can do to mimic some of the things that they're doing. So let's start with the homepage structure. So obviously right now we're recording Cyber Monday, so they have a very specific Cyber Monday hero banner here on the homepage. But this hero banner here, and again, like if we come here tomorrow or maybe a week after, there will be a very sort of seasonal campaign or something that it's very specific, right, for maybe a specific type of product or a specific collection that they're trying to push right now. Something very simple and straightforward about this is that it has a singular call to action button. Shop now. It's like the most universal, call to action button that you can have. At a glance, they're showcasing just a few products that you may find in this Cyber Monday site-wide Shop Now collection that they've created here. And they have models wearing the items, which is great. Now, the other great thing about this hero banner is that it's very clear, right? The messaging and the type font and the contrast that's being used within the hero banner is very straightforward. This whole thing, let me just double check here. So yeah, I mean, this whole thing, it's a, not everything, I guess, because the button, it looks to be a real button versus everything else here is sort of baked in within this graphic. This thing, this last chance, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I like movement on the hero. I think that's good to some extent, right? I think this, like I said, this is good. This is good. But when it comes to movement in terms of having a full slideshow, that's something that we definitely don't want you guys to do. Now, when it comes to these, I would say, I mean, majority of your themes have a dedicated hero section. Sometimes they call it like image slider, where you don't necessarily have to do the slides. You can just do a singular slide and it will act as a hero banner. One of the biggest things with this is just making sure that the theme that you select has the option to do mobile as well. So the mobile version of this will look a little bit different. And let me see if I can actually pull this off. Let me just open it in a new, and then let's condense this tab so we can kind of see that mobile view as well. There we go. So mobile view here, it looks like they're taking just that first initial image from this big banner and then replacing the text around it. The contrast here is not great for that 30% off, so I would probably done some manipulating to the image to make sure that that text right here really pops off. I mean, it's nice that they're, being consistent with the mobile and desktop, but yeah, I would for sure done something, maybe the sky would have been maybe a little bit darker in order to get that contrast in there. But again, hero banner is just something that we talk about a lot, and just having all those elements, right? Having something seasonal or timely for right now, having a singular call to action button. If you can have the button be a real button like this, by all means. If not, you can also have that button just sort of baked in within the graphic. But that's something that Alo Yoga is doing really good. And then when it comes to mobile, just making sure that mobile image is optimized for mobile. So you don't want to have the exact same banner that you have on desktop on mobile. You definitely want to be able to change it up just a little bit. Now, when it comes to the announcement bar, this actually looks pretty good. Not a huge fan of announcement bars that change like this, but the fact that they have an actual like pause button here, I think is great because you actually can pause and see what this is all about. Let me see. We'll maybe come back to this. Now, for that scrolling announcement bar, my sort of go-to is Section Store. So Section Store is an app that allows you to essentially add some of these sections into your store. So you can always just install Section Store. It's free to install. You can at least check out some of the sections that they have available. Once you find a section that you would like to install on your store, then they charge you, for example, these right here are $16. It's like $16 single charge. From what I can see here briefly, I don't see anyone, there's some scrolling announcement bars for sure, but none of them really show like a pause button like Alo has. Maybe the closest one would be maybe something like this, where it kind of gives you the arrows to go back and forth between them. So even something like this would be good compared, or would be better, right? Compared to maybe something like this, where it's sort of like a never-ending scroll going through the top, where like there may be too many things at once, right? Where the customer has to read too many things. So I like the way that Alo has done it, where they can actually pause. They have multiple messages, but they can pause. But if you can have just singular, I would leave it as a singular message here. All right, so let's keep breaking down the homepage here. Now, something that they are doing really well is this rewards program here. So they have Wishlists and rewards sort of packaged into the same thing. The other great thing about it is, like, by default, right, and we talk about this even with navigation, by default, the call to action here is sign in to get rewards. It's a sort of very universal language, right, compared to like when you actually click on it, you have Allo Access. Like that's the actual name of the rewards program. But if in there they had Allo Access, nobody would know what Allo Access is, right? So at a glance, being able to know and tell what this link particularly right here, what it is, it's great. Same thing with navigation, right? We have women, men, accessories, shoes, gifts, right? They could choose to, start naming, like let's say like for women, like the leggings, they call them Air Express leggings. Like they could choose to have some of that marketing lingo in here, but it's not going to be very clear for the end consumer. So having just clear, concise, like universal language as part of your navigation, as part of like some of your call to actions, that's going to be very, very important. Again, same thing here, like matching sets, new arrivals, outerwear, sweatshirts, like it's all universal language instead of being super or hyper niche, right, about some of their messaging. And you can get a little bit hyper niche once you actually get into what this is actually all about. So like having a sort of marketing name for their rewards program is great. So that theirs is Allo Access. At a glance, it just gives them a little bit of information on it, and then just very simply for them to join now or sign in if they already have an account. Now, the most popular, I would say, loyalty or rewards app that's out there, it would be Smile. So with Smile, you can achieve some of the same things that Allo has in here, and it gives you a bunch of different options, right? Where you can set up, where your customers can get points if it's their birthday or their anniversary from signing up, or you can set up the amount of points that they get depending on how much they buy, and you can use that in your marketing as well. So I think having a good rewards program, it's something that I think everyone should have at some point. It may not be necessary right when you actually launch your store, but it's something that I would highly consider for your brand if you're wanting to build more of a community, right, around your customers. So just to kind of show you pricing here, free to install right now, up to 200 monthly orders, and then it goes to $49, $199, and then $1,000. But yeah, this is probably one of the most popular rewards apps out there that will allow you to do something very similar to what Allo has set up right here. Something else that I like, and this is like something that, it could be somewhat simple. I know some themes have given you the option, or give you the option to change the color just to highlight, something here from the navigation. So right now, obviously we're Christmas season, so it makes sense to highlight something like gifts, right? Or like if you have things on sale for like Black Friday, potentially changing sale to Black Friday sale and just highlighting with a different color right here. So this right here to me, I think makes a lot of sense. So don't be afraid to, change up your navigation depending on the time of year that we're in and what makes sense, for the customer to sort of, gravitate towards right now. So the fact that they're doing this right here, I think it's great. Now, like I said, I don't know of a simple, easy way to maybe target something like this. I'm sure you could potentially do it with a little bit of custom code, but I do know some themes already have this pre-built, where you can actually change the color of some of the navigation items. Now, if you're interested in knowing maybe how to essentially achieve that, that could be just a quick video that we can make for y'all. Obviously, it's different, right, for every theme. So, but it will give you the idea, right, on how to find that particular element, how to target it, and how to potentially change that color there. A few more things that they're doing here on the homepage, just to break down a couple more things in here, is these two sections right here. So shop by activity, or basically shop by color. So both just great opportunities for the customer to find relevant products to something that they're actually searching for. And for stores that have a lot of items, this just makes a whole lot of sense. I think a lot of people tend to just kind of gravitate towards the, let's do shirts, right? Like shopping by like product type. But customers, they tend to buy a lot of different ways. So giving them the option and the breakdown, right, of shopping by activity or shopping by color are all going to be great things, or shopping by season. These are all going to be great things that you can include right here within the homepage. Now, in order to do this, this is just very simply they're just essentially creating some new collections in the back end, right? You have yoga, lounge, Pilates, run, train, and then for the colors, you have Avro, Espresso, Burgundy, Celestial Blue, Navy, etc. So, and as you can see, when we hover over some of these, they've actually created these collections. So you can see that the URL structure right there is collections for store/ivory. So this is just like a whole collection that they've created right within here where they can kind of showcase those ivory products. Now, what they are doing here is there's some products in here that obviously have multiple color variations, and those multiple color variations don't show. Like the first one that shows here is going to be that ivory at a glance. So what I would encourage you to do is install something like Swatch King, and Swatch King will allow you to do a bunch of different things, right? You can actually combine different products. Maybe in the back end you have different products broken down by color, for example. You can actually combine them into like a singular product page, so you can kind of showcase multiple colors of this actual product, but in the back end you have it broken down a little bit differently, or vice versa, right? You can have a product that has multiple colors, and then in the collection page you can actually split them up into a bunch of different color variations. But it gives you a lot of the options that you can do to either combine listings or sort of separate listings based on either colors or price or sizing, etc. So it gives you a lot of different options. It gives you a good way for you to merchandise your product, I think, a little bit better. So I would definitely suggest checking out Swatch King variant options in order to achieve something similar with this sort of color collections. Now, obviously creating the actual collections in the back end, you have a lot of different options. So just to kind of walk you through that a little bit, when you go here to collections, you have two options. You can either create manual ones, or you can do with product conditions. The product conditions just give you flexibility, right, in order to make them sort of automatic. So they've actually, recently changed the name of this to smart collections now. But with the smart collections, if you're already adding products, and for example, you have the colors, right, the ivory, or you have what was the other one, the activity, right, run, train, etc. Within your products, you have a couple of options, right? To me, the one that probably makes the most sense is maybe using tags. So tags are all internal in the backend for you. So you can actually have tags that maybe go with the actual activity or the actual color. Those are all things that you can do here in order to make this collection. So if this collection was the run collection, you can just basically say like any product that has a tag of run, it will be automatically added into this collection. I'm just gonna go ahead and save that, but just to kind of show you an example here. So like if we had this product here, all we have to do is essentially just add the tag in here to run, and that product will automatically get added into that collection. So that's something, very simple. It's more doing it in the back end of the store, and then in the front end, right, when you're actually customizing the theme and customizing your homepage, you can actually use a couple of options. Some themes have like grids or galleries. You can use those, or you can use the collection list section is what it's called. And then with the collection list, you may be a little bit maybe more limited depending on your theme, but that collection list will allow you to do basically both of these sections right here. Something else that they're doing here that I absolutely love is they're showcasing a social media feed. And a lot of times I think brands tend to do a very simple Instagram feed. So they may use like Insta feed, and all they're showcasing is like their own personal Instagram feed in here. And that's where like I think it's not detrimental. It could be detrimental, right? If it's slowing down your site and is really not adding anything to the customer, just to kind of showcase like, hey, we're on social media. But I mean, everyone should be on social media, right? So a better use of this space or this sort of section is what Alo is doing here, where they're actually showcasing images from content creators on social media. They've tagged them in and just showcasing the actual products that they're actually wearing within those items. So achieving this right here, obviously it will have to be some kind of app, or alternatively, if your theme has a shoppable image, is usually what it's called, or hotspot image, then you can achieve something like this. Maybe not at this scale where you have like this slider, but you could potentially have one or two of these images with the hotspots and some of the user-generated content that's online, that your customers have posted, and you can add them here to the site. So let me show you both of those. So in terms of the app and exactly what Alo is using, just by looking at the back end, they're using actually Amplify UGC by Pixely Turn 2. This is the exact app that they're actually using to achieve that right there. And with this app, you can actually collect content, right? Depending on if people are mentioning you or using a certain hashtag or using a certain user handle, etc., on a bunch of different social media platforms. So very, very powerful. In terms of pricing, not really super transparent. They do require, it looks like, some annual contracts in here. So it may be a little bit more expensive. And if Alo's using it, they're probably going to be more on the expensive side. But you never know. They may have some, programs for smaller brands. But this is the app right here that Alo is using using in order to achieve this. And just kind of show you an example here. When you click on those plus, it actually shows you the actual product that the customer is wearing. Now, alternatively to that, and maybe something a little bit simpler that you could do, it's not going to necessarily grab all the posts from social media, so you'll have to do that a little bit manually. But that functionality of showcasing that hotspot on your store, that's something that, again, a lot of brands already have, a lot of themes already have built in. So let me just go check on one of these. Okay, so yeah, this one right here, so I'm looking at Abode. They do have an image hotspot. So if I click on the image hotspot, you'll see the hotspots kind of floating in here. And when I hover over them, it gives me the product info. And that's what I was saying. Like this section right here, it won't be a slider image. It will sort of be like that singular image. But I have seen some that give you the option to do kind of like a side by side. So at least you get to showcase maybe potentially two of them instead of just like one big sort of like banner image. And that's what this one in particular right here is. So you would have to manually sort of add your image in here and then manipulate the hotspot to match the actual position with the horizontal and vertical, and then select the actual product. So maybe a little bit more of a manual process, but you can still kind of achieve that look of having UGC on your homepage featured, something like this. All right, let's keep breaking this down. So we already checked the collection page somewhat, but here we have it again. Collection pages are usually pretty straightforward, and with Allo, they're also pretty straightforward. There's not much to collection pages, but when it comes to best practices and what Allo is doing, number one, that same offer, right, that you saw on the homepage for the Cyber Monday 30% off site-wide, they have that same offer showcased here and displayed here at the very top. When they don't have a sale going on, this whole banner up here basically disappears and it just goes straight into women's best sellers. Now, this is very important because to me, if you're running a site-wide sale or something that is super relevant to right now, showcasing this on every single page would be important, right? You will definitely want to keep that continuity going throughout your site. So using something like this would be great. This is just a very simple, straightforward banner. They just obviously made it very small in terms of the spacing here. But if we go to, let me go back, actually just from right here, just to kind of show you collection page, default collection. On all of your collection pages, you can actually add some additional content and additional sections. A lot of people don't tend to do too many changes here on the collection page, but you can, like we can add a section in here. Let me just see if we do image, what is it called? They call it image banner. This is gonna be a little bit different, you know, from brand to brand, but all Allo has is just an image banner there towards the very top. Obviously by default, it shows you like this huge banner, but as long as your image, it's slim, just like Allo's, it will also show up, you know, as a slim image here towards the very top of your collection page. So adding these images would be great to, again, keep that continuity going. Something else that they're doing really well here is their filters. So they're filtering by a lot of different things here. So you got color, product type, fabric, bra support, length. So they're doing a lot of different things in here. The number one app that I can recommend you in order to do filters better is going to be Search and Discovery. Now, Search and Discovery is a free app. It's made by Shopify, and it allows you to essentially do exactly what Allo is doing here, which there are filtering by everything and anything. So as long as you are creating some of these fields in the back end, you can technically use those fields in order to filter your products. So if we go back here to our store, and let me go back here, and then let's go to products, and I'll show you. So the Amarillo by Morning product here, like all these fields, right? We have description, title, media, category, variants, like these are all different fields. These right here are just like meta fields that Shopify, or not that Shopify, that we have created in the past. So any of these things like fit or product care, like we could technically filter by those things if we wanted to. And actually once we add a, let me just do category. So once you actually add the category of the product in here, it will automatically add these category meta fields, which are these right here. So neckline, sleeve length, top length, clothing features, age group, right? These are all things that by default Shopify adds to your products as long as you select the category. So this category is going to be super important. So everyone should be doing this category. This product type doesn't matter as much, but this category one does, because that's how they determine taxes for your products. But once you add that, then they automatically give you these options here to add these category meta fields. And you can use these category meta fields to create filters. So if we have like neckline, let me just say like asymmetric, just as an example here. Then let's open up search and discovery so I can kind of show you how that looks. We go here, we go to filters. So you can see we already have a bunch of them created in here, but we can click add filter. And then from here, basically just select the source. By default, it's going to show you the type right here. So those category meta fields that we just created are now being showcased right here. We have product meta fields. Those are the ones that you or I create manually. And then you got product options. These are usually either size or color, some of the ones that show basically product variations in the back end. So again, you have a bunch of different options in here. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you have the correct one. But for example, we can do neckline in here, and there's the asymmetric that we selected in here. You can click save on that. The good thing about these filters is that they either show or hide depending on the products collections that you're showcase. So if I'm looking at pants, it's not necessarily going to show me the neckline option as a filter because there's no active products in that particular collection that I'm looking at. But search and discovery will definitely give you this option here to filter your products and make them just a little bit easier to find for your customers. Another great thing that I like about what they're doing here, and this is kind of exclusive, right, for this particular sale, is the fact that they have the save 30% off and they showcase the product pricing right here. But it's really that little banner, right, that save 30% off that gets highlighted in here for these products. So to me, something like that, you could use something like Flair where you have the opportunity to add either badges or labels to your products. It could be the collection page, it can be in the actual product page, but something like this will add that. I like the name of it because it adds that extra flair, right? And it gives the customer just a little bit more information, or maybe the same information, but just maybe said a little bit differently. But sometimes, people need that. So having something like Flair would be good to, again, have those badges being shown in here. But yeah, that's about it on the collection page. Not much that you can add or do, but definitely a couple of things that will add a little bit extra. And you can also see the heart here for the wish list. Again, you'll probably need to install some kind of wish list app. When it comes to wish list, I think it's Wishlist Plus. Yeah, Wishlist Plus is probably one of the most popular ones out there. A lot of big brands use Wishlist Plus. I don't know if Aloe is using Wishlist Plus and maybe using something else, but this is what I would probably recommend in order to get that wish list on the product page and the collection page. All right, so product page. Again, they have some of what we consider best practices in here in terms of like having the size guide pop up in here. They have add to wish list. They have the add to bag as their main call to action in here. They're using the product badges or the labels. So something like this model is wearing extra small and then giving you a little bit of information about the model on the actual picture. You can use that Flair app that we talked about, or you could potentially even just Photoshop this on top of the image and just have it as a part of the baked in graphic overall. But that right there is going to be something that, again, just additional context, additional information that is just very timely and positioned right in a place where it just makes a whole lot of sense. You probably have this information, but you may have this information sort of maybe, and I think they actually do, they have it maybe hidden, as part of the text over here. But given them that information at a glance from the image, it's just a little nudge, a little next level there. In terms of reviews, so they are using a reviews app in here. The one that we recommend the most is Judge Me, but it looks like they're using Yotpo in here to generate some of these reviews. Both apps I think work great. I think Judge Me is usually recommended because it's more affordable than Yotpo, and they have great customer support. So both of those definitely recommend in here. They're, again, using some of the same sections, some of the same things, like this one from the homepage. The other great thing that I like that I'm seeing here is this sort of sticky add to cart or add to bag, which that add to bag is actually something interesting. I've seen it somewhere recently where it makes it seem like it's a little bit less of a commitment maybe instead of like cart. I don't know. Personally, I don't think it really matters, but it's just interesting that they're using the add to bag in there. But yeah, the sticky add to cart that kind of follows you around is something that I would highly recommend. All right, so there's a lot of apps that you can use for the sticky add to cart. Something that we tend to recommend a lot is also Vitals. So with Vitals, you have 40 plus different apps or different things that you can add to your store. This actually adds more like functionality. So we talked about Section Store. With Section Store, it's more of the aesthetics, right? If you want to change a few of the aesthetics, you can. But with Vitals, you actually have the option to do like full-on features, things like wish list or sticky add to cart or upsells or replace. So with this one, I know for sure it has a sticky add to cart, so that would be like a no-brainer. If you also wanted to combine wish list, which I would recommend, then I would do something like Vitals, so you can combine maybe 2 or 3 different functionalities that may require 2 or 3 different apps into just one singular one. If you're interested and you want to help us out too, you can check the link for Vitals down in the description below. Okay, and lastly, something that we have actually seen floating around right from the homepage is going to be this chat button here. So they're using a chat option in order to communicate instantly with customers. I think chats are great. And part of like what they're actually using here, they're using like an AI assistant, which they claim it's like a beta version. So it may not give you, everything that you need right away, but that to me is like just super smart. And you can do this yourself with something like Joofy. So Joofy just literally gives you the power of ChatGPT into your instant chat. So it gets to know your product, your store, your policies. So at a glance, it can actually learn everything and answer common questions that your customers may have. Obviously, you can always jump in any of these conversations, or you can update the skills or the way that the AI responds to messages. So if you're getting a lot of volume, a lot of questions, and people coming into your store, using something like Joofy would be very, very beneficial. And I don't know that Allo's using Joofy, but they're using a version of that same technology, right? Which is an AI assistant to help you with some of these messages. All right, so there you have it. There's a breakdown of how Allo Yoga is converting really customers on their website, and some of the apps and some of the tools and some of the ways that you can also implement some of these things on your store. Now, if you are interested in learning about maybe a couple of other additional apps that will help you that maybe Allo may not be doing right now, or maybe we didn't get a chance to talk to, then you definitely want to check out this video here next.